Here in the Elite Galaxy, we've got a dedicated ship for most things. When you want to trade, you have the Panther Clipper Mark II or the Type 9 Heavy. For combat, you've got the FDL or the Viper Mark III. And for exploration, you've got a plethora of options, including the excellent Crate Phantom and the outstanding Mandalay. But mining? Mining is a discipline that hasn't really got its own dedicated ship. Instead, it's been lumped in with trade rather than being a dedicated field in its own right. But that's now changed with this, Lakon's latest in numbered spaceship models, the Type 11 Prospector, which out of habit I keep calling the Type 11 Transporter, but that is just dumbassery on my part. So if you catch me calling it that, it's because I'm a dumbass. I get why they've called it the Type 11, given that we've already got the Type 6 through 10, but sometimes I wish they would call their ships something a little bit more alluring, like the Asteroid Smasher 4000 or the Manic Miner, but I guess not. Anyway, taking a look at it, the default yellow suits this ship. It gives the industrial gravitas that a ship like this deserves, although if it's not to your liking there are plenty of alternative paint schemes available. I think it's fair to say that largely the look of the ship does look perfect for its given role, but unlike for example a Viper Mark III, it doesn't look perfect. For a start, the engine nacelles or outriggers or whatever you want to call them appear to be moved by some sort of hydraulic contraption. This is fine in itself, but it does look like those components are pretty exposed to all sorts of things that would come into contact with it, especially given that it's the Elite Dangerous Galaxy and not the Elite Fluffy Cuddly Teddy Bear Galaxy. I mean, one bad hit from a missile and surely these things would stop working. One thing that is quite neat though, you'd expect the engines on a ship like this to get out of the way for landing, but with the Type 11 they also get out of the way when opening the cargo bay. Perfect for shrinking the profile of the ship down while mining those difficult to access areas. Another thing is you have a central seat, which is bloody brilliant, until you realise the entire cockpit is offset instead. This is to make room for its dedicated large mining hardpoint. From a visual perspective it looks fine, great even, making it reminiscent of one of those super large dump trucks that you find in quarries. But it can take a little bit of adjustment when flying the Type 11 through a tight asteroid cluster. On the flip side, the visibility from the cockpit is surprisingly good, absolutely no complaints about that. Finally, if you're feeling lonely, there are 2 other seats with you, so you can bring some friends along to smash rocks that is. Speaking of smashing rocks, let's talk about the main reason for this ship being mining. It's not perfect, but you know what? It's bloody close. When you nip out for a spot of mining, you can have all of the mining equipment that you want or enough storage space to carry the turds of 1,000 people who like their chicken cooked rare. But all of that doesn't matter for me if it handles like a barge. Sure, the Type 9 can carry a whole lot more cargo than the Type 11, but it handles like a beached whale. So for me, it's not a ship I take out mining very often. The Type 11, on the other hand, feels like it's far more agile than a ship of its size and purpose should be. It's not an eagle by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a ship that's a joy to bung through those tiny gaps. So based on that, we're already onto a positive approach. Next up, and possibly more importantly, you get the Mining Volley Repeater. This is possibly the single biggest overpowered mining tool in the galaxy, and right now, it's an exclusive to the Type 11. Fitting in a bespoke Class 3 mining hardpoint, this thing acts as both a mining laser and abrasion blaster, all in one tidy package. And as an added bonus, it allegedly has a chance to extract higher density chunks of material than any other mining tools. It's also quick, stripping space rocks in almost no time at all. If that's not enough though, you also have 2 medium and 1 small mining hardpoint slots. So these 4 slots alone give you access to bring pretty much all of the mining tools you might need, but if you want to double up on some tools, you also have 3 small and 1 medium general purpose hardpoint slots, giving a whopping total of 8 hardpoints to fill with mining equipment to smash those rocks into dust. If we want to go for a negative, the capacity isn't huge, just coming shy of what you'd expect from a Python Mark I. but I'd argue that given how quickly you can fill up the Type 11, you'd still be able to potentially net more credits per hour. If you need someone to watch your back while you're mining, you also get a size 5 compartment that is dedicated for a fighter bay, and while I don't like that this ship insists that you can only get a hangar bay in that slot, it does give you defensive capability even when all of your hardpoints are filled with mining equipment. Speaking of dedicated slots, you also get a size 5 slot that's dedicated to one thing, a limpet controller. Again, this takes away some flexibility from your build, but it does allow you to outfit the Mark II mining multi-limpet controller, which is another exclusive to this ship. What makes this new Mark II limpet controller special? It has higher capacity than the regular mining limpet controller, allowing you to have 14 limpets out in the field at any one time. And whilst I'm not a fan of the fighter bay slot being limited to just a fighter bay, at least this slot gives you a perk for that exclusivity, rather than limiting you to something that will fit in any slot of the same size, assuming you're in the right ship. So if this section was too long and you couldn't be bothered to listen to it, yes, the Type 11 is the absolute bomb when it comes to mining. If you're looking at a more generic trade where you gather wares from purchasing from one individual in order to flog to another, it's okay, it's adequate. But if I needed a medium trader, I would just go for the Type 8. Sure, the 11 has better capability for mining, but the Type 8 is just better for medium trade in general, thanks to its increased cargo capacity among other things. Exploration? I've flown worse, much worse. You can get in excess of 50 light years per jump with some lazy optimizations, which pretty much puts it into the category of a viable but not perfect explorer. Still, if you're looking at travelling a little further out into the bubble to find a new selection of space rocks to mine, the Type 11 will serve you well. Don't get me wrong, she's no Mandalay or Crate Phantom, but for a little bit of side questing into the black, it'll do nicely. So for mining it's excellent, for trade and exploration the Type 11 is okay. Not amazing, but okay. So what about the last major discipline, combat? I'm not going to say she's a terrible ship for combat, she isn't. But I wouldn't go as far as to say she's okay either, because a good chunk of the hardpoints are restricted to mining tools only. You can't fill all the hardpoints with weapons, but you do get that previously mentioned fighter bay along with the previously mentioned 3 small and 1 medium regular hardpoint. So for the average encounter, the Type 11 stands a chance, more so than ships like the Hauler and the Type 6. But I see these hardpoints in the fighter bay as purely defensive, something to discourage the average low-skilled pirate from getting the drop on you, rather than something to beat down the local riffraff. The shields feel more effectively than the shields you would get on say a Type 9, but that's not exactly a ringing endorsement. They do a job, but that job is to keep you covered until you get the hell out of Dodge. If something remotely skilled turns up demanding your cargo, the best strategy is to release a fighter, fire back until you're in a position to jump out, and as soon as you're not mass locked, jump. But that's fine, really it is. This isn't a ship designed for combat, it's designed for mining, so a defensive build isn't all that bad. If I wanted to do combat, I'll take something better suited like a Viper or an FDL or a Python Mark II. So, final thoughts, if you're a miner when this ship is released for credits, it is 100% worth it. But for everything else there are better options for the same amount or less credits. For example, the Python Mark I is available for less credits, and I'd argue it does everything except mining better than the Type 11 can. I also don't like how limited it is when building this ship. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that you can bring a fighter bay and enhance limpet controllers, but part of me would love to fill those slots with something else and have the option to fully customise this ship. And another issue that jumps out is that the power plant feels slightly underpowered and needing some engineering to get the best out of it. But if you can look past those issues, as I said, for mining it is spot on, so if that's your wheelhouse, grab one of these as soon as you can, and until next time, take care, much love, and 07. Thank you.